Welcome to 6th grade health. We have a homework quiz. You had reading last night, and so you have a homework quiz. So hopefully you read it very well, all right? So get out a piece of paper, number 1 to 5, write health homework quiz. You can write the lesson number, which would be lesson 158. And your name would be good, and the date would be helpful. So if you're doing this on the day that it is assigned, then it would be April 29th, okay? All right. So we'll go ahead and get the homework quiz out of the way, and then I'll explain what we're reading today and all of that, okay? So number 1, just short answer for this one, name the colorful part of the eye. Name the colorful part of the eye. Okay, number 2 is true or false. The tough outer layer of the eye is called the retina. True or false, the tough outer layer of the eye is called the retina. Okay, number 3 is multiple choice. What is the opening in the center of the eye that light passes through? Is it A, the cornea, B, conjunctiva, or C, pupil? What is the opening in the center of the eye that light passes through? A, cornea, B, conjunctiva, or C, pupil? Okay, A, B, or C will be sufficient. 4 is also true and false. The optic nerve carries messages from the rods and cones to the sight center in the cerebrum. True or false, the optic nerve carries messages from the rods and cones to the sight center in the cerebrum. Okay. Number 5 is just a short answer, okay? So which receptors in the eye distinguish color and sharp detail? Which receptors in the eye distinguish color and sharp detail? Okay, so just write the answer there. All right, if you need to hear those again, go back in the video, listen again. I am going to give the answer, so if you did not finish, please go back and finish the quiz. Okay, we want to make sure that you finish that. Okay, so number 1 is iris. Iris, the colorful part of the eye is the iris. Number 2 is false. It is not called the retina. We'll look at that in just a minute. Number 3 is C, pupil. That's where the light passes through. Number 4 is true. That's exactly right. Number 5 is the cones. They distinguish the color and sharp detail as cones. All right. Okay, so right on the top, minus 0, 1, 2, 3. Hopefully no more. Hopefully not that many. And then you can turn that in. Okay, right now we're going to be looking at pages 110 to 113. There's a quick check on page 112. We're going to also be reading your amazing body that covers on both pages. We also have a health worksheet 8 for you to do. And you're for homework studying pages 97 to 110 for the quiz tomorrow. I forgot to cross my teeth. All right. You probably didn't even see that. My head was in the way. But it bothered me. And I'm going to move these now that you've taken the quiz because now you can see them. Okay. That just helped me out. I knew that you couldn't see them at all if I covered them up. We are going to be talking about the eye. All right. Let me just move some books around. All right. So the structure of your eye, the tough outer layer, as you may have known, hopefully you knew, was the sclera. And so the sclera is the part that protects your eye. It covers the entire eyeball. The white of your eye is part of the sclera. At the front of the eye, it becomes transparent so that light can pass through, so you can see. And that's called the cornea right there. And then there's a thin membrane called the conjunctiva that lines the eyelids and covers the front of the eyeball around the cornea. Okay, so that's that tough outer layer. Your sense of sight is made up of messages your brain receives from your eyes. Your eyes take pictures and motion pictures better than any camera that man can make. So as you may hopefully remember, that hopefully you remembered this, that the part of your eye that's colorful is your iris. So there's people with blue eyes, green eyes, gray, brown colors. The more pigment your iris contains, the darker its color. And the darker its color, the less light that passes through, and it's not as sensitive to light as the lighter colored eyes, okay? So in the center of the iris is the pupil, and that's where the light passes through. It becomes, your eyes adjust, they'll dilate, they'll get bigger when you're in a darker room. But when you get into a brighter room, they'll adjust and they'll get smaller so they let less light in. That is why whenever we've been in the classroom, or when maybe you're at home and you watch a movie or something on a screen and you turn the lights off so you can see it better, your eyes start adjusting to that level of light, okay? So when I turn the light back on, or when your mom turns the light on, or when you turn the light on, your eyes don't get to adjust in that brief second. That is why you normally go, ah, 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 okay? You get that, right? Okay, so that's what your pupils do. They do that so they let less light in, so that your eyes can adjust to different brightnesses. So when you walk outside, if it's really sunny, you're gonna squint a little bit and respond the same way, because your eyes are saying, close them a little, let us get smaller, and then you can open them back up all the way. And that's really what your eyes are doing. It just doesn't like send a message to your brain saying that particular thing that you understand, but that's what the brain messages are going back and forth. They're saying, okay, close it a little bit, let's adjust, and then we can open back up. And so that's really what your eyes are doing. Behind the iris is the lens. It becomes thicker when you look at close objects, thinner when you look at distant objects. The lens causes the light rays to pass through it to bend and focus or meet on the retina, the inner layer of the eye. Did you know that the retina can, there's lots of things in your eye that they actually have been able to, people have been able to get a transplant on because of a problem. My brother, and I'm sure I've told you about him, but my oldest brother has had both of his retinas replaced. He had to go into surgery, but the reason was because he wasn't able to see clearly, and like, it could have caused him lots of problems. And so he was able to have this surgery, and they went in and they replaced it, and that's pretty amazing, the things that they're able to do now. So on the inside, you've got rods and cones. The rods detect shape and movement in dim light and distinguish different shades of black, gray, and white. The cones, though, distinguish color and sharp detail when there is sufficient light. So if you go into a room, maybe you forgot something in your room and you're headed out the door, but you need to go get something, and you are too lazy to turn on the light, or you're in too much of a hurry to turn on the light, your room appears in more grays and blacks and maybe a little bit of white than it does in color. When you turn the light on, you realize all of the color that's there, right? And so that's the difference. Okay, your optic nerve is your seeing nerve. It carries messages from the rods and cones to the sight center in the cerebrum. And while most of your sensory receptors send messages to one hemisphere of the brain or the other, messages from sight receptors go to both hemispheres at the same time. That is incredible. Your brain focuses on what you're seeing. Everything in your brain is seeing this, and it's not just one half or the other. That's the one thing that it goes to both, the one sensory that will go to both halves of the brain. Okay, you can do this exercise of testing your field of vision. I think this would be fun to see that. So if you have a sheet of poster board, you guys have the protractor from math, 10-inch piece of string. If you yarn would work if you don't have string, a yardstick or a long straight edge. So really just a long straight edge. You can use a ruler or a couple rulers and try that, and a pair of scissors. And you can follow these examples and you can see how far your field of vision is. And so just test that out and see what you can come up with. All right, so don't forget to answer this quick check on paper and do the health worksheet 8, and to read these pages again, and then study pages 97 to 110 for the quiz tomorrow, and specifically knowing the parts of the brain and the different things that it can do, and then what was the other thing? And your ear. Okay, brain and ear are the two parts in that section that you'll just know those different parts, and be ready for that quiz tomorrow. All right, I will see you in the next lesson, and it should be your last lesson for the day, so have a good evening.